All right. All right, let's give one more big round of applause and welcome to Chef Joshua Harmon.
All right.
All right, guys, so right now, I'm gonna kind of let Danny, while I'm prepping some of the pickle stuff, I'm gonna let Danny walk you through the first part. This is my executive chef and partner at Birdie. Anytime you come in, you'll see him probably. Not me, but
There
him.
all the time.
All the time. He's there 24/7. So he's going to show you this. Like I said, this is a really fun slaw. It's easy to adapt. You can use it on any level. It's easy to make, and it makes you look really cool at your next party that you got to bring the slaw to, because you're going to show up to the barbecue and everyone's like, "Dang, this guy's been on Top Chef before." So we're going to show you how to do this right now. Danny's going to walk you through it while I start getting some other stuff prepped. We're so excited. Let's get it.
All right. Now the floor is on to me. So right now on this pot, I have 1 quart of vinegar that I'm heating up for this jalapeno cilantro slaw. I'm actually going to be pickling the kohlrabi that I have right here in a big camera, and we're going to do a hot pickle. He's also going to demonstrate how to do a hot pickle today. So right now it's just 1 quart of vinegar on the stove. To it, I'm going to add 1 cup of honey. And just with measurements, I use anything I can find to measure. These are our 8-ounce containers that we use to serve the slaw in over at Birdie. So measuring cups,
Where
forget
are those
that.
quarts?
I just look at the ounces and like, oh, 8 ounces, that's
good.
a cup. 2 ounces, that's a fourth of a cup. After that, I'm gonna add 1 cup of water. There you go, 1 cup to the pot. I'm gonna add a cup of sesame oil to it.
Sesame oil and slaw is it's really delicious. I don't know if you've ever done that or not, but anytime you make a coleslaw or like a raw slaw to go with, I don't know, on a sandwich or with fried chicken, sesame oil is really awesome. It gives kind of a nuttiness to all that fresh, crunchy, sometimes sweet and sour. So we love sesame oil.
Kind of brings that like roasted, like savory kind of flavor to it.
Exactly, yeah.
And
it
then-
gives it a whole nother element.
And then to this, I'm also gonna add 1 cup of sugar to it as well.
So honey and sugar.
Honey
Yeah.
and sugar.
Honey and sugar, that's important. Those are 2 different types. They're 2 different types of sweet. You know what I mean? Like honey almost has a little more of a complex flavor. It's like it almost has that like toasty situation. It goes really well with the sesame. And then the raw sugar helps break down the actual cabbage and the kohlrabi.
Yes.
The sugar is an actual, it'll, sugar, salt, things like that, they break down components, including mostly like vegetal components.
And so I'm just mixing it around right now just to dissolve some of that sugar. And since I am doing a quick hot brine, I'm gonna dump this straight into my kohlrabi mix it around. And just like with anything in the kitchen, we as chefs, we always wanna season everything. So we add salt and pepper to taste, and it's always to taste. So I'm gonna add.
Tell them what to taste means, Danny.
To taste?
Yeah, what does that
basically, if you just add a bunch of ingredients together, the taste is not going to come out. The basic ingredients to any recipe should be salt and pepper. It just elevates whatever you're cooking, brings out the flavor in most items.
And
rinse this out.
when you're talking about kohlrabi, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. What is that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Kohlrabi is one of my favorite. It's a root vegetable. It's a lot like, it almost looks like, have you ever seen fennel? There's basically a big, what we call bulb at the bottom, and then fronds that come off of it with these little frilly, it almost looks like dill at the top of it. And it has a flavor of almost like, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like celery meets a potato meets an apple with no sweetness, like that texture. It's really tasty. I love to puree kohlrabi. We like to pickle kohlrabi. We love it in slaw. I put a little bit in my pockets just to have at the end of the week. I love kohlrabi. We're big kohlrabi people.
Yeah, for
so,
Josh.
and it also, it's like anytime you go to get a chicken sandwich or something else, I think a lot of the time in your head, you get a chicken sandwich for like crunch, right? You're like, I want something crunchy and the soft bread. So this slaw just kind of adds to that crunch element that we like, and yeah, it's delicious. It really is.
And then you're ready.
All right.
Now we're gonna move on to the relish part. And so the relish, the jalapeno corn relish, is something different I've never tasted before. Right here, I have a Cambro, and I already have some jalapeno already chopped up.
So we take the seeds out of the jalapeno, we run them through a little cold water. But you don't have to do that. If you're living life on the edge, you can cut them up and throw them in there, leave the seeds in, go for it.
Yeah. When we make this relish, I really like having like big pieces, like kind of chunky, almost like pico de gallo-ish. for my relish. And so you don't have to use like a food processor or anything like that. You can just use chopped veggies.
But you can.
Yeah, but you can.
If you got a food processor or a Vitamix or a blender, you can literally throw the jalapeno, the cilantro, the honey, the vinegar, give it a buzz. And you can use it in a million different ways. Like, it's really good on fish. It's really good if you brine chicken in it overnight and then give it like a really nice hard grill. It just has a lot of flavor profile that you can do kind of any way you want. It's great to saute shrimp in.
And so what I'm doing right now is I'm just julienning a couple pieces of jalapeno because I still want that little jalapeno crunch. So you just cut the jalapeno into strips. We already have them cut, halved, and seeded. Take them strip-wise, turn them around to get a perfect dice.
He's the dice machine, Danny.
I feel like if you use the food processor, though, doesn't it sometimes break it down a little too much? You're like, you lose
It does.
that
Yeah.
So that's why
crisp.
when you use it in a food processor, we pulse it,
Yeah.
make sure all the big chunks do get processed, like cut up
Yeah.
enough. But it's still good to even have it chunky if you want to like a little bit more chunkier relish.
You can
It'd just
always
be more like a pico de gallo.
If you get too small, if you throw in the food processor and you realize you've pureed it, you can always chop into it, fold
Yes.
it in there. But
Yeah.
you always want to keep it chunky. The chunkiness it's kind of the thing, you know what I
Yes.
mean? It's like, it's why it has that, I guess, that flavor. And our slaw, all of our slaw comes just like you would see regular slaw, but on top is that really nice jalapeno cilantro relish. It completely changes the whole game. If you had our slaw without it, you'd be like, this is good. When you have it with it, you're like, I want a divorce. I found something new in life, and I'm moving on, and it's amazing.
All right,
'Cause
and so
it's stellar.
Yeah. So to this, I do have 4 cups of jalapeno. To this, I'm going to add 1 cup of chopped garlic. To
We like
it.
garlic a lot.
Yes, we love garlic a lot.
Look,
Big
in
garlic
this
fans.
kitchen, we measure garlic, butter, and bacon with our hearts.
Yes, all the time.
I really like that. That's
All
beautiful.
right, and then to this, I'm also going to add some roughly chopped cilantro, and I'm going to add about 2 cups to it.
And when we're chopping that cilantro, do we need to remove the leaves from the stems, or are we leaving
So
those?
that's a
Stellar
big debate.
question.
Yes, that is a big debate.
That is a big debate. I will tell you this. I love cilantro stems. I use them a lot. Like I'll take the leaves from the cilantro stems, and I'll take cilantro stems and line them up and cut them like chives, and I'll use them on things. I'll pickle cilantro stems. Cilantro, the stem of any soft herb it's got all of the oil, all of the flavor. So I love cilantro stem. I'm not going to hate on you if you have some in there. Danny,
Yeah.
he's a very meticulous human being. He picks the leaves all day long, but that's
I will
okay
pick the
because
leaves all
I'll
day.
use the cilantro stems afterwards. So it's kind of however you want it. I mean, there is no foul in using. I think that's like a misconception situation. There's no foul in using cilantro stem. Use them up. They're delicious. I love them. I'll put them in my teeth like a farmer.
So I do have the cilantro stems in here. To this, I'm going to add 1 quart of vinegar. Let me go ahead and throw a little bit of salt and pepper while I'm at it.
And that's to taste,
That is to taste.
how we talked about earlier.
It doesn't matter what vinegar. Can we use regular vinegar?
So we personally use white wine vinegar,
We
but
use
you
white
can
wine.
just use regular distilled vinegar for this, but we just wanted to use white wine vinegar.
You can
'cause
use
it has
rice
more of a
wine.
complex. Yeah, rice wine is a good
It's
wine
great.
too
It's
as
great.
well.
Anything that's like not crazy acidic. We like the white wine vinegar because it's got a little. It's a little more tame. But rice wine vinegar works really well with it as well because of the sesame oil.
All right, and then to this, I'm going to add 1 cup of honey. Just to give it a little bit of a sweetness, just like we did our kohlrabi.
It smells really good up here.
Yes.
Not gonna lie.
Oh, I can smell it back here.
Right?
Smell-o-vision's working.
Smell-o-vision, it's happening.
All right, so right now I am chopping up the roasted corn. We just did this morning, and this is what's going to give it that nice pop of color and that added sweetness, apart from the honey.
Little char
that's in there.
flavor.
A little char flavor. And this is something weird. I thought it was so weird when I did this at first, but once I started eating it, I was like, okay, it makes sense. So to this, I'm going to add about 3 cups, 4 cups of the corn. I'll just use all of it. Because you can never have too much corn in this relish.
That's right. That's real.
And then we've roasted that corn and you've cut the corn off the cob. Am I
Yes.
gonna throw that cob away, or should I save it and do something else with that
There's
cob?
a million things you do with corn cobs, actually. One of my favorite soups on the planet is as corn cob soup. You can literally take cobs, put them into a pot, and make a stock, just like you would chicken stock, and then strain it and use that stock to make corn chowder or whatever you're feeling. But it's a great stock. I love it with pasta. Like corn stock with pasta is incredible. One of the best things is if you take your rinds from your Parmesan and your cobs from your corn and you make that into a broth. It's like a corn Parmesan broth.
Oh, so good.
And you do tortellini in it. Yeah, you're gonna blow somebody's mind. You're gonna take somebody to the hospital that night.
I just tasted some. It's so good.
Yeah, I love this. You guys are gonna dig this, I promise. While he's doing the rest of that, I'm gonna put this pickle together because we're gonna hand out our pickles too. Half a quart of garlic, if you. And I love it. Honestly, when I write recipes in kitchens, no joke, I like try so hard to make it quart recipes. I'm like, okay, it's 5 quarts, 3 pints, because it's easy and you always have them on hand. And it's just, I don't know, that's how we do it. So half a quart of garlic, half a quart of dill. You have a whole quart of water, and then you got the half a quart of vinegar, so about a pint of vinegar. And that's it, man. And then you add salt. We always, like we said earlier, add salt to taste. We always do a pretty good amount of salt in our pickles. It's the thing that gives you that really pickly situation. Ours is, if we do this measurement, 'cause we made it a little bit smaller, it's about 1.5 cups. And literally, we're going to heat this up a little bit and pour them over these. I guess there are 2 avenues of pickling. There's a hot pickle and there's a cold pickle. We kind of mix the 2 together.
Yes.
We heat our liquid and then we add ice, which is the other component of our water. And we add the ice instead of, so say we call for 2 quarts of water, we'll do 1 quart of water and 1 quart of ice. Because that way we'll cool this down before we put it over the pickles. This way it's a little faster for us and it integrates the ingredients a little better. But my favorite, all-time favorite pickling method is make it cold, the whole thing, pour it over your cucumbers if you have the time, and then wait. Because it's a better product. But the way we do it still keeps the texture. So if we were to go hot pickle and pour this hot pickle over this like we did the slaw, it's gonna wilt these a little bit and kind of change the color. The reason why we pour the hot liquid over the slaw is because we want that for the slaw, right? We want to add a little bit of texture, we want to loosen it up a little bit, and we want it to kind of take in all of it. These are going to keep their texture and their color, which is what we want.
Again, hot brine. You can always do a hot brine. If you're in a pinch, you just want to pickle something real quick.
It's the quick way.
The quick way.
You can pickle something in 5 minutes if it's hot. You pour it over and it basically cooks that vinegar into the product that you're pouring it into.
And so we just slice these thin.
Be careful
About a
using a
millimeter or
mandolin
2.
like that.
I'm, God, you're not
scares
even
me.
watching what you're doing
scary.
now. Oh my God.
Don't do
Don't
this at
do
home.
that at
I'm-
home, folks.
I'm not
take,
gonna cook this.
take your time.
He's a
Look,
professional.
there are 2 types of people in the world. People
There-
who have been cut by a mandolin
That's
and
true.
people who will be cut by a mandolin.
That's true. That's true. It's the worst cut too. It's my
It's
least.
the
Very much.
worst.
It's the least favorite cut of all of them.
Especially if you have
You're
like a
like
very.
giving me the heebie-jeebies just watching
Because
you.
look, this is what I do every day. I'm like staring out my expo window, looking at the customers, wondering what I'm gonna make for them.
Oh, we had a
Yeah,
runaway pickle.
And this is what I do at my job, just literally mandolin all the pickles while I wait for the customers to come by. Right here.
All right, so all I'm going to do is pour this hot liquid over these pickles, and that's it. Those are pickles. So today we did slaw for you guys, and we did our pickles. But I hope you guys dig this slaw. I think it's a really rad version of something that you're used to eating, and you're used to seeing. I think it's just kind of stepped up a little bit. We gave you a little bit of a chefy nudge to it, and we're stoked to be here. We love you guys. We love Sunny and the State Fair.
Okay, did I miss it? Did you put that corn relish into the slaw and mixed it all together?
So it's going to be the kohlrabi slaw with a scoop of the jalapeno relish on top, and then we're actually going to finish it off with a little bit of black sesame just to give another.
Now, you can do whatever, like if you want to just mix it into the slaw, you
Yeah.
totally can. The reason why we do this is because this relish is great to make on its own and have, right? So like if you're going to make slaw with it, great. or if you're gonna do chicken with it, or if you're putting it into a salsa, or if you're doing whatever it is, it's good to have separate. So we top ours with the corn relish. So basically our slaw is a kohlrabi sesame slaw topped with a jalapeno cilantro corn relish. And then we hit it with a little black sesame because the black kind of looks really good on the colors.
Yeah.
And it tastes good, it matches with the sesame. And then we're gonna pour this bad boy over. And then what we'll do is when I go back there, I'll throw a big thing of ice on top of this. And the ice will melt and it'll create my other half of the water, filling up the rest of the liquid. So anytime you're doing a pickle and you don't want it to look kind of like limp and gnarly, take whatever water increment it says, cut it in half with ice, and you can still do a hot pickle and have a cold pickle result. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, we need the kitchen math, the ratio of the vegetables to the slaw mix. So, like, how much coleslaw is in there versus the liquid? That's
when we make
that's a really large pot.
It is a very large
That's
container.
a large pile.
So when we make our slaw, we usually make a big batch of it, and you can just use it whenever. If you wanted to do maybe, say, about a quart of coleslaw, if you're just making a quick dinner, you can just throw it in there like if it was a vinaigrette and just like mix it around,
Yeah.
just let it sit for a little bit.
So this mix with the vinegar and the sesame oil and stuff, what's really great is keeping it on hand and using it as you need to. So like, say you're making slaw tonight, so you're gonna use a little bit of that vinegar for a couple quarts of slaw. And I would, like, for me, it's like you pour it into your slaw so you know it's pretty covered. And then, but you can do so much with that vinegar. You can actually, like, you could heat that vinegar up and pickle cucumbers this way. You could use this vinegar in a salad as an actual vinaigrette. So it's a good thing to have on hand. And on the actual sheet, there's a ratio on there for you, but it's more of a per bag ratio. So I would use it to how much you buy. If you buy a bag of slaw, you know, I would add a quart and a half, kind of until it's to your liking, you know.
It seems like it's like that was a lot of vegetable for
Yeah.
how much, because I was like,
Yeah.
it seemed more like a dressing than it did
It is,
like a
yes.
very heavy.
is.
Yeah.
Because if you
How
think
many
about
quarts is that container?
how many quarts is this container, so because when I did add the honey to it, the honey slaw pickle brine, obviously when you do like spinach and you're cooking it, you know how it decompresses.
It'll wilt down a little bit.
It'll wilt.
So from raw, this is probably 12 quarts maybe?
12 quarts. How about that?
12 quarts, yes.
Okay. Do we have any final questions? Let's give a big round of applause to these guys for being with us. Josh Harmon, Danny, and crew for being with us today.